Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Vulnerability Time. We are in episode 4, and today, folks, we're going to be talking about the path necessary to heal the mindset and relationship with yourself, and a new mindset for seeking romantic relationships. Um, but before we get into that, let's introduce our honored special guest, Dr. Tabari, a global
Hello.
content creator. Tell us more about you. And I know that you have a project coming out as well.
My given name is Kiwan Dent. I am from Detroit. That's where I am right now. And right now I'm just going to school trying to get my doctorate in psychology. And I'm minoring in entrepreneurship.
Shut up. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. Wait, I didn't know that.
I'm going to school. I'm trying for my doctorate. That's what I'm doing, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, okay. Um, so I followed your page for about like 6 months now. And I just love the content that you post. Kind of tell us a little bit about like, the content that you post. I mean, folks, like his Instagram will be in the episode description, so you can just click it. And please go follow him. If it's just you won't regret it. Um, yes, so tell us a little bit about the content that's on your page.
So, a little background on it. It really was it was always on my heart to do it. I just never had the courage to really start until a year ago, like basically last
Mhm.
January. And I was just telling my friends about it, and I was telling them like I want to make mental health cool again for people that are like in their
Mm,
20s, people that are young. I want to make mental health a cool thing. I just feel like
yeah.
whenever
Hmm.
I talk about that type of thing, it just sounds corny to people. Like it just sounds like I don't know. It's really cool right now to be negative. It's cool to go online and complain. It's cool to go online and be negative and start drama and argue. It's really cool to do that. That's the
Yeah.
cool thing, trending thing.
Hmm.
And it just wasn't me. And so what happened was I started off with TikTok because I would just have like random thoughts throughout the day. Like I would wash dishes and I would get like some random advice on a random topic that I wasn't
Mm.
thinking about. And stuff just kept coming to me on like a spiritual level and stuff. I just feel like I kept getting downloads and downloads. And I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do with this? Like
Right.
it would just be random relationship advice, random just like life advice for college, friendships, like random advice would just
Hmm.
come to me. And I didn't know what to do with it. And I was already kind of a person that would kind of like help friends and talk to friends. I've always been
Hmm.
kind of like that. But
Yeah.
like this would be like very pure advice that I couldn't comprehend. It was very above me. Uh,
Mm.
so I started my page on TikTok at first, and I just started speaking. I would get
Hmm.
something that would come to me and I would just say it.
Hmm.
And that's kind of how I had to get rid of that fear. I had to just do it. Like I had to learn how to listen to my voice and learn how to
Mm.
look at myself and learn how to appreciate it. And I realized that it's bigger than me.
Right. Oh, that. Oh, okay. First off, that theme of, you know, still doing it anyway, even if there is the fear, doing it afraid because,
Hmm.
it's something bigger than you. You know what I mean? How so many people are healed, blessed, encouraged because you decided to do it afraid. And that's the thing, like fear, that's something that I learned recently about a year and a half ago, that um sometimes fear is inevitable, and courage doesn't mean that there is a lack of fear. It just means doing it, you know, with the fear. Like um fear isn't an absolute. It doesn't necessarily like just because we have fear that doesn't mean we're invalid from doing something. Like basically, we don't have to wait until we're not scared anymore to do something, you know?
Right.
And so
Mhm.
that's what's really beautiful. And I mean, I don't think a lot of my listeners know this about what I'm about to share, but what basically what you just said is that's something that literally just encouraged me. It's nice to, hear that reminder externally, but I
Mhm.
was super insecure and scared to start the podcast just in general, just the whole, vulnerability time podcast.
Right.
Um, because I was afraid. I had fear, I had insecurities. I hate the sound of my voice. I like it a lot more now that I
Mhm.
started this podcast, but I'm still like not a huge fan of my voice. But now I'm just like, fuck it. Fuck it,
Right.
whatever. Yeah, so I think that that's really beautiful that, you're able, and it's not easy, but, the fact that you were able to it do it afraid, you know? I feel like
Yeah.
that's
So
encouraging. Cause
I
yeah.
oh sorry.
No,
Oh,
go
sorry
ahead,
to
go
cut you
ahead.
off. Okay, okay. I'd really say to the people listening that your bravery is not defined by the fact that you're not scared. That's not bravery. That's not courage. Courage is when you are scared, shaking, you can't breathe, your heart is pounding, you have all the negative thoughts flooding you at once, and
Mhm,
you still do it. That's
mhm,
courage. That's bravery. And
mhm.
if you go back in history of all these great people that we follow, that like civil rights movement, all the people, you think they did that fearless? They didn't.
Right,
They were anxious. They didn't know what they were doing, but they
right,
knew that the purpose, the goal meant more than their fear.
right.
Fear, fear, a lot of people do say fear is not real. I do think that fear is real because
Definitely.
it
It better
controls,
be.
it is a real thing because it
Yeah.
controls us and you can use it to control other people. But
Yeah. Ooh.
with mastery, you have to learn that it's bigger
Mhm,
than you. It's bigger than this fear. Your negative thoughts will always come. And I posted something yesterday, literally, about like what Diana Ross said. She said that you're always going to have a positive thought, you're always going to have a negative thought.
mhm.
And it's really like having two different children, and it's who you give your attention to. You have to
Mhm,
learn how to neglect the child of negativity and really uplift and focus on the child of positivity. You
mhm.
have to learn how to put attention and energy on something and for it to grow. So with fear, in a simple and long story short way, you have to just take action. You have to just do.
Yes.
You literally
Yes.
just do it. Like
Yeah.
just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously, like some things, like for example, this podcast, I literally did that mechanism. I'm like, one, two, three, I'm doing it. Just literally one, two, three, publish. There you go. Boom. One, two, three, publish. And of course, I felt icky and regretted it like for like 2 weeks straight. And now I love it, and it's like, it's bigger than me, like knowing that this podcast has, you know, helped people stay on this earth, because, sometimes, including myself, like, I try to leave,
Yeah.
and something like, this podcast helped me, stay. And so, if I wouldn't have started this, who knows if I'd still be here, or, or folks listening, and it doesn't have to be, necessarily ending your life. It could be, just encouragement, just random encouragement, or to see and hear that you are not alone um in what you're feeling. And also it's kind of like a therapy as well, in a sense of you can just learn more about yourself. You don't
Yeah.
even gotta need therapy, or you don't even gotta need this podcast. But if it helps you learn about yourself, that's huge. Or helps you to learn and just understand other people, because there are multiple realities outside of our own reality. And yeah, and I mean I think that that's super beautiful. And that's another thing that I wanted to mention, is I'm slowly learning more and more to
Mhm.
um well, internally, there you go, to
Mhm.
welcome fear in, and just be like, fear, you're probably there because you're trying to protect me. And that's the thing. Fear is a survival mechanism. That's how we made
Yeah.
it through the hunter gatherer days, things like that. Like, if you see a lion in the middle of the street, you better have some fear and not go pet it like it's a puppy,
Right.
or go stick
Exactly.
your hand in its mouth. You know what I mean? So fear is great. I give fear a bad rep a lot most of the time, but fear has helped us survive as humankind. However, there can be too much of something,
Mm,
and a lot of the for example, I'm going to make a point. When it comes to like your heart, you put walls up, because something bad, or you don't want something bad to happen. The walls protect us from the bad. Now, notice I said protect us from the bad, but it also protects us from the good. That's
mm,
something, yeah.
mhm.
And so
Yeah.
that's kind of like fear. Fear protects us from the bad, but it can also protect us from the good. And so I'm slowly learning and learning more, internalizing the difference between uncomfort and then unsafe. And that's hard. That's hard. But there are some things that, fear. I lost my train of thought. I swear this is gonna make sense. But
I
you
got what
know,
you mean.
yeah, okay, good. But yeah, just fear. I'm learning more to welcome it,
Hmm.
and just be like, you don't have to stop me. I'm learning to see it as not my enemy necessarily. Like,
Hmm.
you're not just protecting me from bad. I mean, you're not just protecting me from good, but you're also protecting me from bad. Um, so yeah, that's the word protect. So I'm trying to see fear in like a another light that it's already in, rather than just giving it complete, a bad rep. I'm like, yeah, I have fear. I'm afraid. Um, However, I'm gonna do it afraid.
Right.
Fear, come along with me, because at the end of the day, you're just a survival mechanism. You're trying to protect me. Now if I see a lion in the middle of the street or a cheetah, I'm gonna have my fear discernment, and I'm not gonna go towards that. Um,
I
you
believe
know,
fear
yeah.
is like it's like an overbearing parent. It's just
Mm,
their ultimate goal is to protect you, but it's almost like, dang, can you get off my back? Stop micromanaging me.
right.
Stop limiting me. You're restricting me from being great. I know
Mm,
that you want a certain thing from me. You want to keep me in your nest, but I have to be able to fly. And I can't
right.
fly if I don't jump out. Have to try. Like I
Mm,
can't stay cooped up where you say I have to be cooped up. Yes, I do feel comfortable here. Yes, I do feel safe here. It
hmm
does feel good to just you just don't come on the camera.
right.
You don't go and talk to that person you want to talk to. You don't
hmm
go and you don't go do that interview for that job. You don't go back to school. You don't do certain things. It can be very comfortable to just stay there, but you're anything worthwhile in life, you're gonna have to go in discomfort and you're gonna
hmm
have to ignore fear. Just like how your parents may have certain limitations on you and certain expectations of
hmm
you have to go past that
hmm
because they're just trying to protect you. But
right. We got to
we
set our boundaries with fear. Like,
yes,
yeah. Oh,
boundaries, yes, exactly how you
yes.
would with a parent. It's like, I love you, I acknowledge you, I acknowledge that you're trying to help me,
Yeah.
but I have to be better than this.
Okay. We haven't even gotten to the topics yet, and Dr. Tabari is already spitting out this wisdom. Y'all, please go follow his page, okay? Go follow his page, please. Go follow his page. I remember it was just one post that he had posted, and I'm like, wow, wow. I followed him, and I was in my head like, oh, he definitely is gonna get on this podcast. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, season one or season two, he's definitely getting on this podcast. Yes, folks. So it his post that really moved me. Now I struggle sometimes to remember the exact words of certain things, but I
Mhm.
remember how I felt. I I remember how I felt. I remember how I feel on a lot of things, and pros and cons. But um, here he is. Here he is, inspiring.
Here I am. Yep.
And so, with that being said, Dr. Tabari, um, let's get into, and this is a quote that you had said, the path necessary to heal the mindset and relationship with oneself. Let's start there. Why that wisdom?
Mm. I believe that it's very important before you do anything else to be able to move past what's been holding you back.
Hmm.
So, a lot of people, as we're born, we have to go on a journey just to find
Hmm.
ourselves,
Mm.
just to love ourselves. And it's like you go to sleep with yourself every night. You wake up every morning with yourself. And
Hmm.
some people can't live with themselves. And it's very important to me to help people understand there's a disconnect. There's a certain amount
Hmm.
of compassion that you should have for yourself. Just because you breathe, you matter because you are matter. You matter because you
Mm.
are matter, because you're here, because you exist.
Mm.
That's why you matter. And it's so vital that we don't lose that connection with self.
Yeah.
That connection with self is also our connection with God.
Hmm.
And when you don't have the connection with self, you lose that connection to God. And when you lose that connection to God, you're not able to create the life that you want at all. You keep going back into the same circumstances that you were in a year ago with the same people and the same things. You have to stay connected to your source. And the
Hmm.
only way to stay connected to source is to stay connected to self.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
You have to stay in that place. It's so, so important. Like
Hmm.
you can't progress unless you know self and love self.
Hmm. Right. Because we, whether we know it, whether we realize it or not, oftentimes we project what's going on inside and how we view ourselves, how we quote unquote love ourselves. you
Exactly.
know we oftentimes project that and without even noticing it. So I think that that's super interesting that you say, like, that relationship with oneself is very important. you know and the thing that um breaks my heart um is that we people can come along and teach us how to hate ourselves.
Yes.
And that blows my mind. At such young ages, people can come along and have come along, and whether the person meant to or not, whether, they even know they're affecting you, because it can be the smallest things like, you know, media, you
Yeah.
know, always seeing, on commercials or movies, you're always seeing the thin person, and it can be indirectly, it can make us internalize, if we don't look like that, if we don't see representation, it can make us internalize, I dislike this about my body, and it can turn into hatred for ourselves, and also it can just be people like bullying us, saying you're this, you're that, why do you look like that? But the next person can think that you are so beautiful, can think that you're so beautiful. And I don't know, what have you experienced that? What has been your experience with that? Have you experienced that?
So what you discussed was programming. It's what you go through as soon as you're
Oh.
born. Programming. It's where you turn on media like TV, a
Mhm.
programming. They're putting stuff into your mind. You learn your ABCs, you learn your numbers, you learn what happy is, you learn what sad is, you learn what mom is, you learn what dad is.
Mm.
But you also learn that you learn the other things. You learn the things that if you're not this height, then you don't deserve to be with this type of person. If you're not
Oh.
if you're not Caucasian, you don't deserve to be in this space. If you're not straight, you don't deserve to be in this place. If
Mhm.
you're this weight, you don't deserve to be here with these people. You don't
Mhm.
deserve, you're not worthy. We learn
Mhm.
that when we go to school too, programming, where we're educated on our ABCs, our numbers, certain things.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
socially, when we're around other kids and the teachers and certain things, we pick up extra stuff. We're supposed
Yeah.
when you're growing up, you're supposed to be learning the world. You're supposed to be learning. But a part of that is the negative side of it. It's
Mhm.
those parts. in my experience growing up in middle school, my biggest thing that I was programmed with is that being gay was a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
And once I took in that program, it separated me from Kiwan. It
Mm-hmm.
separated me from the divine part of myself, Dr. Tabari. It separated me from that, from both of it. It
Yeah.
separated me from myself. And because I would just have friends and they just be like, that's gay. This is gay. Don't walk like this. Don't talk like this.
Yeah.
Don't. And I'm like, wow, I talk like that naturally. I walk like that naturally.
Right.
I'm
Mm.
into this thing. I'm into this color. Oh, because before, like the color pink, feminine, like people
Right.
would be very feminine color. I'm like, I really like that color. Can't wear it anymore. Okay. Um,
Right.
my voice isn't super deep. Okay, I got to figure out how to make it deeper. Um,
Right. Oh my God. Same. Same.
I
Like right
just
here.
certain things you're programmed with,
Yeah.
and then I got programmed because I grew up very Christian. So
Mm.
I got
Oh.
programmed with what Leviticus says. It's like,
Oh shoot.
okay, well, if you're gay, you deserve to suffer and you deserve to suffer after you pass away.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was a lot of self-hatred in my early teens, around 12 to 13.
Yeah.
And it made me a very angry person with my
Right.
parents and at the world because I didn't feel like I was worth it. I didn't feel like I was
Right.
worthy of anything. Because
Right.
it's like, what is it all for if you're telling me I'm going to a place where I'm going to burn forever?
Right.
What's it all
For something
for?
that you can't choose.
You don't choose it. You
Right.
don't. I'm choosing your program, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm choosing your program over choosing myself.
Right.
Like
Right.
I can't. And it's weird because when you're first born, you're a baby. People aren't doing like you're able to just have fun and be free
Right.
and
And
you
right.
have all this. I think like a pivotal age for most people is when you enter your teens, that
Mm.
around 12, that 12 to 13 like area where you start to go
Mm-hmm.
into middle school and stuff is when you
Oh
first
my God. Yeah. Oh. Yes. I definitely have my disagreements with public school system when it comes to middle school especially.
hmm
Um definitely. I do want to just also mention um folks, y'all already know that I grew up in a religious household, not a faith household, not a relationship with God household, a religion
Okay,
household.
and there's a difference. There's a
Yeah, there's
big
a difference. Yes, there's religion and then there's relationship. And long story short, y'all, I recorded episode 11 2 days ago, okay? And I want, when episode 11 comes out, make sure y'all listen to that because I mentioned how, I did research on the history of the Bible. But I'm going to tell y'all now, um, because of what, Dr. Tabari shared, there's so many people like us, Dr. Tabari,
hmm
um, who have been taught this thing. Oh, you're bad because you're for something you can't choose, and honestly, let me not go there, but I'm not gonna go there yet because I went there on episode 11 and I think it's fabulous, it's phenomenal. But I did research on the history of the Bible, and the word homosexuality never even existed back then, okay? That word didn't exist till the 18th century, folks. And
Yeah,
when it first was introduced, it's not an English word. When it first was introduced, it meant the study of just human sex because we are Homo sapiens. Humans are Homo sapiens. That's where the
right.
word homosexual came from. So basically, it was sex education. You know,
hmm
um, Now, folks, if you disagree with this, if you don't like this, if this makes you uncomfortable, you do your own research. I'm not stopping you from doing research. I'm
Study
not
to show
stopping you.
thyself approved. Study to show thyself
Yes,
approved.
exactly. So for the Christians listening, who are like, or the Bible didn't say the Bible also says, show thyself approved by studying and getting to know stuff. And the Bible also says, Old and New Testament, if you add or take, it says people will add or take away from the word, but they will be dealt with. Now, one other thing, because I love this. I'm being so sarcastic when people at Southern Baptist Church that I was forced to go to for a while because my dad was a pastor. Gross. Um, oh, I only read the King James version. I was like, you know what, y'all go do research on King James. One, you'll find out that the man slept with everybody, men and women. Okay, he was a player. He had power. You know, um, so Basically, there's more to the story, folks, and go find out for yourself. If this makes you uncomfortable, if this makes you scared, the best way to get past fear is we scare things that we don't understand. I mean, we're scared of things that we don't understand a lot of the times, folks. So go do research, because I can't be quiet and just allow someone to tell someone that they're a flaw, you know what I mean, and that they're a fuck up because of something that they cannot choose, you know? And if I also am going to call myself out real quick. I internally I'm not showing grace right now, and I want to show grace not just for a faith reason, or I just in general, because there are some people that just generally don't know um that the Bible was different back then, and even 2 centuries ago, and even up until the 1980s. But I'm not going to go there. That's when the word homosexuality was mass produced in the Bible, was in 1980s. So, folks, if you didn't know that, do research. I'm not stopping you.
And a lot of it is like, to add to what you were saying,
Mm-hmm.
um, a lot of we have to also be compassionate of those people that do hate, because that's just their programming. So
Oh,
as
see, he's coming with this wisdom, y'all. He's holding me accountable.
because
Come
we have
through.
to be passionate, because we are all they were once a baby, they were once a kid,
Mm,
they were once that teenager, and they were programmed with that hate. That didn't start with them. It started
yes.
from their father, their grandfather, their great
Mm,
great grandfather. It started there. And a lot of people, they believe that they're directly getting the word of God in certain text, but you
mm-hmm.
really are getting the direct word of another human,
Yeah.
another person, and a person that didn't have divine they weren't
Right.
in alignment with what they were writing. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't they didn't even have God's approval when they added that into it. However,
Right.
I do believe, for me, I found a lot of value into the Bible, because I used to be very judgmental of Christians, Christianity, anything
Mm-hmm.
that's it wasn't actually until this year where I finally got back into the Bible. There is wisdom in that book.
Right.
However, you have to remember, Christians, that one of your main fundamental principles is
Yeah.
love, to love thy neighbor.
Yeah.
And to me, I was like, okay, that's like the golden rule. You're supposed to love God and love thy neighbor. That's what Jesus talked about, right?
Yeah.
But when you go and use this text to hate on people, you
Right.
are being the most contradictory. And
Yeah.
if we even just look at, there's
Mm-hmm.
one line that talks about man shall not lay with man, or man shall not lay with boy, whatever Leviticus translation that you
It's man shall not lay with it's man as in just human, okay? Cuz women, they weren't as prioritized back then. Why? Cuz men need to be humbled. Anyways, because it was normal back then. The original word was pedestry. It was not homosexual. It was pedestry, because it was normal back then for rich folks to sleep with children. I'm talking 1, 2-year-old, 3-year-old children, and it
Mhm,
wasn't frowned upon. But it was frowned upon if you were poor and did that. So your socioeconomic status determined whether or not you can um, sleep with kids, young kids. You can literally have them ordered up. People would have orgies with kids. They would do it in public as well.
mhm.
But if you were poor and did that, oh, you were gonna get dealt with. So sorry, I wanted to add that in there. Sorry, go for it.
I just also wanted to make a point about yeah, I was making the point about how it's just one line and it's ignored, and the rest of the Bible is ignored. There's so much
Ooh.
wisdom and power and love and things in the Bible, and people zero in on one line. They
Mm,
ignore all the other stories that taught about not hating people, not killing people. A lot of people don't follow in Jesus's footsteps,
mhm.
which was a very agape type of way. Agape is a word I just discovered. It's about selfless love. It's a Greek word.
Yeah.
And Jesus Jesus was he was a person that was very agape. He very much was
Mm,
part of that selfless love. He A lot of people even forget the fundamental story about how there was a woman that was being judged by two men,
mhm,
and Jesus came by and saw her being judged, and they were like, okay, whoever hasn't sinned or done anything wrong their whole life, you can throw the first stone. You can hit
mhm.
her first. I'll watch you do it. They walked away because
Yeah.
they know internally, okay, she's doing something wrong. I need to mind my business.
Right.
And I think a lot of people just love minding other people's business. They
Mhm.
love doing that, and they don't study. They don't even study the program that they're under. You've been programmed to believe to hate a certain person,
Mm,
and you're not even understanding where you got that hate from. You don't even know why you hate them. You said, I don't like this person for this reason, but you don't even know why. You were just
mhm.
told to do that. And
Ooh.
you are just being a slave to somebody else's ideas. Somebody back then didn't like this group of people or this, and you're taking in their you're taking in their programming. You're taking in that program. And now your behaviors, your actions, your thoughts are centered around hate and
Mm,
not sit around what the rest of the Bible is talking about, not
mhm.
judging, loving,
Right.
those fundamental things. And a lot of people that judge, no one that hates and hates on everybody truly loves themselves.
Mm,
So we have to really go back to minding our business, loving ourselves, minding our business, and
mhm,
focusing on source, on God, and on how to
mhm,
live in that agape lifestyle of Jesus.
mhm,
You know?
mhm. That's a good point. One, let me throw myself under the bus. Oh, wait, wait, wait. Mm-mm. Let me throw myself under the Hummer limousine, pink specifically, because y'all know we like to be bougie, folks. Y'all, y'all make yourself bougie in the mind. It's okay. Um, Dr. Tabari has completely humbled me and held me accountable. I don't even know if he knew he was doing. I don't even know if you knew you were doing that.
No, no
Um,
idea. Nope.
but that's definitely an area that I need to work on. And every now and then I work on it, but like every now and then I don't work on it. And I'm very self-aware in the fact that I am not working on that area in the moment of, when it comes to, like I said, like not having certain grace towards Christian males specifically. Um, and of course, that's my hurt,
Yeah.
speaking. However, and I always pride myself on, I don't want to treat people for the mistakes of others, or just because one person hurt me doesn't mean that all of them hurt me, or just because a group hurt me doesn't mean that all of these others hurt me. And so I tend to just focus on the hurt and forget all the love. You know what I mean? I tend to focus on, the half empty side of the glass. You know how they say, is the glass half empty or half full? It is both. It is both half empty and half full. The only reason why we recognize that it's half empty is because it is half full. The only reason why we recognize that it's half full is because it is half empty. So we need to see the pain to see the purpose. It has to be, we have to acknowledge the full truth, which is the glass is half empty and half full. And that is something that I have not been doing. Oh, he got a glass right there, y'all. He's drinking something, right? He's drinking water, but the glass is empty because he drank it all. But y'all can't see it though. But we're here chatting through we're chatting face to face. But yes. So that's I appreciate that because that is definitely something that I know I need to work on, and I really don't want to go into 2023. Well, as this is being recorded, folks, this is 2022 as this is being recorded, but it will be released in 2023. I believe in January 2023. Yeah, your episode 4. Um, yes, folks. So, Dr. Tabari, thank you. And I must say, it's hard for me to admit this
Hmm.
because my pride and my hurt has been met with grace and understanding that you have given me. You know what I mean? The fact that you mentioned um, hate is a type of programming, and it makes me sit back and think like, whoa, you're not wrong, because I think about that easily when it comes to like if someone doesn't like someone because of their skin color or, or political views. But when it comes to male Christians specifically, all that goes out the window. So I want to personally thank you for
Yeah, and I
helping me.
think, oh wait, let's see. It was slowing down for a bit. Okay, we're good.
Oh, okay.
So I think that brings me back to my point of just when you're on that path, when you're on that path of loving yourself, you can't keep holding on to old
Mm,
things. You're holding
yes.
on to that hate and
Mm-hmm.
that hate that they were programmed with, that they infected you with, now that
Mm-hmm.
you're carrying. When you're still holding that, you are blocking yourself from even having connection with yourself when you're holding
Mm,
on to that. Because how can you be a
interesting.
fully loving person of self when you're full with hate? You can't be
Mm,
full of hate and love at the same time.
mm-hmm.
You have to have one or the other, and they're both
Mm,
very potent energies. Hate and love can get a lot done, both
mm-hmm.
of them. We see that in the world every day. But for us to operate and stay in alignment with source and stay in loving vibration, we have to carry love only, not hate, not resentment. Even if they did you wrong, even if they did the worst thing to you, you have to
Mm,
learn how to let that go, because every time you can't just keep bagging up everything somebody does to you and putting it over your back. It slows you down. How are
mm-hmm.
you ever going to get to your goals in this life if you're holding on to a bag of hate and resentment of everything
Mm-hmm.
those people did to you? And the most freeing concepts, like we talked about earlier, is realize that they don't know what they're doing. They learned this from someone else. They
Mm,
got infected from this person. And in like the book that I'm writing, I describe these people as zombies. They were infected by someone else. Now
mm,
they're seeking to infect you. And even if you try to help them, you risk yourself because you could be turned into one too. So when you get in close
mm,
proximity, you get affected by them too. The only antidote to it is love. They need love, but sometimes you can't be in a close proximity with these zombies because they can infect you too. So it's best to stay protected and stay to yourself. You know, realize that
shit.
people, they don't even have self-control over themselves. They were programmed, they were infected when they were younger. When you got
Mm,
hated on when you were younger, realize that they did too. And that's why they're trying to spread it over to you, because they fill
mm,
themselves up with hate. And the only thing they know how to do is t- put hate out into the world. When you take something in, it has to come out in a certain type of way. When you take in this type of vibration, that's what you give off to people. So for me, I had to clear up my heart a lot this
mm,
year because I had an ex-friend and ex-boyfriend who
mm,
did some of the just the most egregious acts to me and lied on me so much.
mm,
Lied so much. And it wasn't until like the summer where I discovered the quote, heart is light as a feather. And I really
mm,
started, I didn't know why I resonated with those words so much. And I did a lot of research into it. And like in Egypt, when someone died, they would weigh your heart against a feather.
mm,
And if your heart was heavier than this feather, then
mm.
you were going to a place that wasn't so good. So
Right.
I think it's a good metaphor for life where if you keep your heart heavy, you're about to have a burden in your life. You're gonna have to carry
Mm,
heavy things for the rest of your life. And your blessing is over there, and you're gonna walk 1 centimeter at a time trying to get there. And you may never make it because you're too busy slowing yourself down. And I understand that person did the worst things to you, and you want
mm,
to fight them, and you want to yell, and you want to scream,
mm,
and you want to be nasty, you want to be petty. Trust me, I have been there. But you have to realize that you have to be better than this. You have to be better. Don't let them infect you.
mm,
Stay in your loving vibration. They need what you have, love.
mm. Shit. Okay, I got two things to say to that. One, I'm speechless. Well, okay, three things. One, I'm speechless. Two, I've already decided Dr. Tabari is going to be my first ever special guest host. Not co host, special guest host.
Mhm.
Okay?
Thank
Um,
you.
with
I'm-
you and you know who that I was already going to talk to you about. Okay.
Mhm.
So you be the special guest host. I'll tell you like how to record the episode and everything. Okay, yeah, it's not hard, I promise. Okay. Wow, shit. I mean, I'm just here. I'm just here, just learning. Like, damn. Okay, and this is something so beautiful. First of all, what you said was phenomenal. I'm gonna go back and listen to this episode immediately after it finishes recording. Um, but something so beautiful that you said, that stood out to me is learning to let it go. And what happens when we learn? It's a process. We fuck up, we do great. We fuck up, we do great. but we keep, you know, going, like that process of learning. Interesting. It's slow, you do great sometimes you fuck up, but you try. Learning is trying. And I think that that's beautiful. So for folks, because oh man, I'm speechless honestly. But I hope what I said made sense.
Yes, it's a process. You
Mm,
can't just learn something overnight. Just how they people learn hate or people learn to love. It's not an overnight process. It takes time. You have
mm,
to it's repetition. It's something that you do over and over and over. So to
mm,
even unlearn the patterns, you have to do it through repetition, and you're gonna make mistakes. You aren't. It's like when you're learning a dance or a movement. You're gonna mess up a step. You're gonna mess up a move. It's
mm,
just that when we're younger and babies and stuff, when we fell, when we were walking, someone wasn't like, "Get up. What's wrong with you? Get up."
mm,
It's like they know I'm learning. I'm learning. Or
mm.
you kids, they're spelling a word wrong. They spell it completely wrong, fuck up the whole word. We know we're
Yes.
like, oh, that's so adorable. They're learning.
Yeah.
And that's the type of compassion that we need for ourselves and
Mm,
others. Like, okay, they're in a learning state, and we're all in it. We're all in a learning phase. So I don't see why we all are so quick to judge each other because we're all learning. We're still just how we were as a baby, we were learning. We're still there. And to unlearn the hate,
mm,
unlearn the resentment, and unlearn all of that stuff we've been carrying, it's gonna take a process. You're gonna mess up. You might still snap at people. You might still want to fight. You might still cry. You might still be depressed some days. You might
mm,
wake up today and be like, I'm not feeling it. You might go to sleep crying. And that's
mm.
all okay because
Wait, say that
you're
again. You said it's all what?
it said it's all okay. It's all okay. All of it is okay. The good and the bad.
Mm,
And I think that's kind of what and I think that's like the first part of the healing process is you letting go. Let that go, whatever it is, letting it go. And then like I feel like the second stage is acceptance.
mm,
Acceptance that while you're unlearning, you have to accept the fact that you're not perfect. And you never will be. You always got something else to unlearn, always something else to learn. You're always gonna remove a program and add a program. Just how like our computers that we're on right now, they update, they have software updates. We go through that as humans. You're always gonna get rid of old and be in with the new. So while you're in that, people can go crazy because they feel like there's so much I have to unlearn. There's so much that I have to like get rid of out of me. And there's so much that I need. But that's where the acceptance comes in, where it's like, right now, let me be still. Like for me, I meditate to accept. I'm
mm,
like, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna accept the fact that okay, I may not like my forehead, but you know what? I have it. At least I have a brain in there that's functioning
mm,
right now. My hair, I could get it done, or I did lie to that person, or I do still kind of have some hate in my heart for that person, but you just accept all of it right now. You
mm,
get real, real still and be like, you know what? This is what I love about myself. This is what I don't like. And you accept and you don't judge. And that's how you move out of that stuff that you don't like to what you do like. You have to accept where it is, exactly how it is. And that's part of that love that's got to come in. It's like, okay, I accept myself for the state that I'm in. When you see a baby, you accept that, okay, it's a baby. They're young. You have acceptance for it. That's where they are. That's the best they can do with the
mm,
best that they have.
mm. Mic drop. You know that was fire too.
No,
That was fire. Don't,
I'm
yeah, that was fire.
all
I'm just
glory be to God.
speechless.
All,
Yes.
all glory. I don't
Yeah.
even think it's not all me. It comes straight from source.
Literally saying that's how I was able to write my poetry book. Like literally. I'm like it just would just come to me randomly. Like just I mean just
You
phenomenal.
have
Like
You're
I
and that's where I want everybody to be. That's where I try to stay. I'm
mm,
not like that all the time, but I love to be in that flow state where everything is love, everything is compassion, everything I'm able and when you're in that state, you're also able to be creative. You're not judging yourself. You're
mm,
not judging other people. You have less resistance to what you're trying to manifest. You have
Yeah.
less resistance to it, so you allow yourself to flow. That's where I want everybody to get towards.
Mhm.
But step one, we're gonna have to try to get rid of these old programs first. It's hard to get in alignment when you got all this stuff dragging you down. It's really hard. So
Mhm.
that's what I want everybody to be. Be in that flow state. Go
Mhm.
do that. Go be in that career that you really want to be a part of. Go attract that relationship you really, really want.
Mhm.
Go write that poetry, go write that book, go start that business,
Mhm.
go be who you want to be.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of people don't want to do the work, and that's the
Mhm.
problem.
Oh, I something I do want to mention. You know, it's also and I'm working on this with me. So I will say this: it's easier said than done. What I'm about to say, and I'm preaching to myself as well. But in this journey, the also, by the way, I want to let you know that you encouraged me. Okay. Um, about the whole like learning and stuff like that. Like I really needed to hear that.
Mhm.
Um, is that in this process, you know, have don't beat yourself up. Know that, or at least try to know that um, the things that has happened to you that have put you in this place of hatred, or put you, like gave you the baggage, know that that is not your fault. you know, Folks, know that that is not your fault. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, you know, it is a responsibility that we are now going to have to heal from. And it is okay to be angry that you have to go through all this to heal. That is okay. Anger is a part of the process. Anger is a part of the healing process. You got to
Yes,
purge it out. You got to purge it out, folks. Just don't stay there. But I want y'all to know that literally, uh, first off, emotions are neutral,
oh
and
yeah.
I
Mhm.
know that this is a debate, that whether anger is a secondary emotion or not.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't want to speak on that, but like I would just say for me, anger is a secondary emotion. It's always something that's rooted to it that I always find. But
I
yeah.
definitely agree. I definitely agree. My opinion, anger is always a secondary emotion because
Hmm.
you always feel something first, and then the anger comes. Because it's
Yeah.
like, okay, they cheated on me. What did you feel first? Hurt. You felt hurt.
Mm,
You felt betrayed.
man,
You felt
listen to you.
betrayal. You didn't feel anger first because first you have to process, and in that
Hmm.
processing stage, you're like, what did this person just do to me? They lying to me? What's going on here?
Yeah.
What? You're like in that shock in that stage. When you're in that stage, that's when betrayal comes in. And betrayal comes in, you're like, okay, this person lied to me. I'm hurt. I'm really, really hurt. But
Yeah.
then as a defense mechanism, the anger comes up, and the anger's like, I want to yell, and I want to scream, and I want to fight. Because it's
Yeah.
like, 'cause what I learned through therapy this year is that
Yes.
anger,
Therapy.
ang- yes, therapy.
Love it.
Anger is it's just the warrior inside. It's that friend, it's that part of you like, you're gonna take this? You're gonna allow that person to disrespect you? You're gonna keep letting this happen. Oh, okay. No, I'm gonna help you do something about it. So that's when anger turns on. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do something about it. We're gonna get something done. I can't the betrayal energy, the sad, that's not helping. The warrior part of you is like, I'm about to turn on and I'm about to mess something up. But the problem is if we don't regulate it, that warrior will burn down the entire village. That
Hmm.
warrior will destroy everything. It'll destroy relationships that didn't need to be destroyed. It will have
Hmm.
you doing stuff without even proper evidence. You get so angry you won't even ask questions first. You won't even ask the person because you might have a a perception that's not even true about a
Hmm.
person or a thing. And if you don't you have to work with that warrior. You have to work with them. Like when you look into like history, there's always kings and generals and leaders over the warriors. Because the
Hmm.
warriors, they be ready to fight. That's their goal. But you
Yeah.
got to learn how to tell them what to do.
Hmm.
Like, when is the proper time to do this? When is the proper time to yell? Maybe I won't yell at that person. Maybe I'll yell at my pillow. Maybe I won't fight, but I'll go exercise. Maybe I'll go for a run to get this
Hmm.
energy out of me. You have to learn how to work with that spirit of anger, you
Hmm.
know? And you have to learn what type of anger are you experiencing? Are you experiencing passive aggression where you're being sarcastic, you're being petty, you're doing subliminals on social media about people? Or are you that type of person that's more, it's more of rage. It's more where I need to yell at you, I need to fight you. No, I need to hurt you right now. You just hurt me, I'm about to hurt you right now. And I don't see how anybody could not see anger as a secondary emotion because it's what do you want to do when you're angry? You want to hurt something. You want to hurt
Mm-hmm.
somebody. Why is it it's this common thing about hurt? And that's
Mm-hmm.
what you're in, hurt. And
Mm-hmm.
when you cool down and you're not angry no more, a lot of people start crying. That's because the hurt that you were feeling is still there. Even after you mess everything
Mm-hmm.
up, you're still feeling that hurt. So people start crying afterwards. Okay, why am I crying? I fought them. I beat the bitch up. Okay, why am I still hurt? Because you're hurt. Anger just
Mm-hmm.
turned on for the moment as self-defense. Just how like we talked about earlier, how our brain it does like a survival mechanism of like with fear. It does the same thing with anger because it's supposed to get you to act, to move, to get up, to
Mm-hmm.
turn
Mm-hmm.
up. That's what the energy is for. But a lot of people let it control them. You let it control you, you about to burn down everything. You're gonna burn down literally everything, and you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
look bad. You're gonna be like, why am I the one in prison? Why am I the one that everybody hates? Why do I look like the villain? Because you allow anger to consume you. And even if it was valid, you have to learn how to tame it.
Mm-hmm.
Very important.
Yeah, but you don't have to learn it by yourself.
Yes,
You know,
that
like you
therapy.
said, therapy. Therapy is helpful. You know, being honest, talking about it. Exposing that root. I got to get my hair cut. I don't know.
Okay,
That's.
me too. Me too.
Oh, shut
Cause
up. But yes, yeah, and I always like to like tell myself, a great way to kill a tree is at its root because you can cut off branches. But acknowledging that root, going for that root, it's cut off from that source
yeah,
of nutrition and stuff like that it needs. So we got to dig beneath the surface. We got to dig deep and it gets dirty, but we got to get to that root. And so like I'm metaphorically relating this to, um anger. What's that root? That's the way that we can help ourselves. The why, the real reason why, getting past our pride, and genuinely just saying, I am hurt that this person hurt me. Like, and I remember, like, for me, it took me years and years and years to just even get to a point where I acknowledge, um, verbally to myself that I I am hurt that they left me. Like, I am so hurt. I cared about them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm hurt, like, because I didn't want to be vulnerable and I felt like vulnerable or naked, or a wimp, or
mhm,
weak for um, the fact that they even hurt me. You know what I mean? And the fact that I have to and in my mind, a lot of the times I was like, I let them hurt me. You know what I mean? And that's not always the reality. However, that's something that it took me forever, Jabari, to Dr. Tabari, sorry,
it's okay.
um, to just even admit basically the root and the truth behind my current state of anger, you know um and I brought that root to therapy, and that's the thing, not everyone can afford therapy, or not everyone's ready to go there, or maybe they're in a circumstance where they're just not able to go to therapy right now, stigmas and stuff like that. um and I'm not a doctor or psychologist, so I'm not saying anything, folks. What I'm saying is I'm not. I'm just going to say what I did. There we go, and you can choose to um, try it out or not. But writing, I this is when I was too afraid to go to therapy because therapy is so stigmatized. I didn't want to seem weak, yada yada yada. So I
Oh my God.
started.
I have to
Yeah.
talk about what you just said. I
Yeah.
avoided going for so long because I felt like I was weak. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like if I went, that solidified because I went through a period of last year when I lost a lot of friends. And I was hearing from different people that they were calling me crazy and obsessed, a
Mm-hmm.
stalker, like many different things. And I couldn't understand where this came from.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought maybe I am crazy. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am
Mm-hmm.
obsessed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I am crazy. So that blocked me from getting my help out of therapy for a long time. And I
Mm-hmm.
developed anxiety. Never had anxiety all of my life. I actually started having anxiety last year in
Mm-hmm.
November. I never had anxiety ever in my life.
Really?
Never,
Wow.
never, never nervous. I could get on any roller coaster, go to any place. I had no fear pretty much. I felt invincible. And I got really humble last year when developed this anxiety. And I thought, okay, maybe if I go to therapy, that'll make me feel, I feel like that'll solidify the fact that I was crazy. Like, what if I go and she tells me I have some type of like mental illness or something's wrong with me, quotation marks,
Mm-hmm.
something's wrong with me or whatever. And I went and she was like, no, you're just hurt. You're just hurt. Nothing wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
want people listening to understand that therapy doesn't going to therapy doesn't make you crazy. It doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It
Right.
actually is the most healthy person for going to therapy because there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people out here that need therapy and don't even consider going, and they're the ones that hurt you the most. The person that hurts you is the one that should be in therapy. But
Mm-hmm.
now that they've now that they've done that thing that they've done to you and now you're in a state where you're hurt and you're dealing with struggle, now you have to go to therapy. And there's nothing wrong with that. You
Right.
can't afford therapy, find your therapy. A lot of people find their therapy through making music,
Mm-hmm.
listening to music,
Journaling. That's the one I was gonna say. Journaling. Art,
journaling,
like you said, making
art.
music.
Any exercise can be a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, anything, going out in nature. There's other types of therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Therapy is a Western thing, but we often forget the Eastern therapies, the acupuncture,
Mm-hmm.
the yogas, the journaling, we forget that whole other side of the world's therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And for in my opinion, what works for me is combining the Western with the Eastern. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I should see a psychologist who's licensed and knows how to help me work through this. But also, I could use some yoga. I could use some journaling.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I went to therapy, she encouraged me to keep doing that. She told me to do that every second of the day. She said,
Mm-hmm.
whenever you need to meditate, whenever you need to do yoga, whenever you need to go do acupuncture, go do whatever you need to do to stay
Mm-hmm.
sane. That's the goal, y'all, is to stay
Mm-hmm.
sane. Do what you got to do to survive and stay sane.
Yeah.
Do what you don't let anyone knock you from something that you know that's going to keep you sane. Sanity
Right.
is gold.
Wow. Now, wow. So, Dr. Tabari,
Mhm.
I do want to say we're almost at an hour. So, folks listening, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do if this goes over an hour, 15 minutes, folks, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chop it up into two parts and make this episode 4, and then I'll do a bonus episode so y'all will be able to hear it. Um, so yeah, that's what I like to do. Um, so yeah, just letting the folks know, because I had a couple of episodes recorded already that we went over an hour, and I completely forgot to let people know. Oh, I'm gonna break it up into part one, part two, and
Mhm.
so that's me saying it now. So I'm very curious. So the new mindset for seeking romantic relationships. What?
That is so okay.
That's your words.
Yes, I feel like it's very important because I feel like majority of us are seeking a romantic relationship. It's a very big thing. It's very desired. When people go out and get readings and go out and do other things, the first thing they want to know about is their love life, you know? And then
Mm,
a lot of people receive the most hurt because of their past romantic relationship. That's where you usually get the most hurt.
mm,
Um, So that's why we had to talk about that first part about letting stuff go,
Mm,
because how can you seek new romantic relationships and you're holding on to the last one?
mm-hmm,
Okay. Um, on a spiritual level, if you are still holding on to the last one, you're bound to attract someone of the same magnitude. If you don't take accountability for what you did or what that person did, you're bound to get the same results, the same relationship.
mm,
So, okay, with that being said, also, for in my experience, for romance earlier this year, I felt as though I was not worthy of it. I was not worthy of it.
mm-hmm,
And I didn't realize that was what was blocking me from romance, that I couldn't attract anybody, not even someone just to talk to, just flirt, date. I wasn't even attracting people to date at that
mm,
time because I didn't feel worthy. So if I don't feel
mm-hmm,
worthy, the universe, God is like, well, why would I give it to you? You don't want it. I'm only going to give you what you want, and you don't want this. So I'm not going to offer you the vibration that you're seeking in your heart because you don't even feel worthy of it. Why would I give you something you don't feel worthy of? You
mm,
know? So I had to learn how to reestablish like that work, like the worthiness. And that came from building my relationship with self. So that's why every time someone gets out of a relationship, a lot of people, when they get out of a relationship, they start going to the gym more, they start going through the glow up era, they try to feel good. I think it's very important to go through that actually,
mm-hmm,
because you got to learn how to build that relationship with self. When you've been single for so long and it's just been like nobody that seems like they choose you or want you, you can start to feel not worthy. And when you're
mm,
still living in that hate and still living in that resentment and stuff in the past, you just feel like you're just ugly, you're undesirable, you're not
mm-hmm,
enough. I know what that feels like. You just feel like you're not enough. Who you are right now is not enough. It's just not gonna cut it to attract someone on that vibration, that high vibration.
mm-hmm,
To shift out of that, I had to start loving myself. I had to start dating myself. So for me, the tool that I used was I analyzed what was I missing with the last person I dated. What was I missing? What did I
mm,
need out of them really bad they couldn't give me? What were things that we could have did that would have made this relationship stronger? And I started doing it with myself. So when
mm,
I got to college, the first thing I started doing when I finally I had to let go out of my heart the person I was dating before. Once I let them go out of my heart, I started going to movies alone. I started going to the dining hall and eating alone.
you
I
started
started
dating yourself.
I started dating myself. But let me backtrack. I had to be friends with myself first
Mm,
because when you're starting to build a connection with someone, you don't just start dating them like the first day you talk to them. You get to know them. So first, I had to get to know myself. Okay, my favorite color is red. I'm 19 years old. I
mm,
really like tarot. I really like meditation. Okay. I really like reading. Okay. I really like exercise. Okay. I really like
mm,
this. I really like helping people. Okay. 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 I know this. So once I did that, I started to make a friend of myself. Like, okay, what's the basis of a relationship? Love, trust, and respect. So I'm gonna start working on that. So like, okay, started working on love, started working on trust, started working on respect. And then I was like, okay, I like myself.
yeah.
I like myself a lot. And once I got there, I was like, okay, now that I like myself and I know who I am, like I'm a friend. Like I know who Kiwan is. That's my friend. He's on my friends list. I know who that is.
Mm,
I had to start doing actions to show that I love myself. Because love is best expressed with action, not just telling yourself, not
mm,
just saying, I love myself. Prove it. Prove it. If you love me, prove it. Take
mm,
me, take me to a nice restaurant. Put good clothes on my back. Shave your hair. Go get your hair done. Go get your nails done. Go be around people that are good to you. You know what? Like if you really do love if you really do love me, Kiwan, you're gonna do the things that show it to me. You're gonna buy me something I really like. Okay. You're gonna go to class. You're gonna go because I want this degree. You're gonna get it for me. You love me, right? So it started to become a thing. I was like, okay, I gotta prove to myself I love me. I
mm,
love me. So that's where I got to build back up to that worthiness. Once I got to that worthiness, then something shifted. Once I started feeling worthy, it shifted where now I'm still kind of in this state where it's like
mm.
I feel like other people are worthy of me. But that was
Yes.
but don't get me, but that was also an issue though,
Mm,
because you feel like you're too good for everybody.
mm,
You don't accept other people's flaws. And like
Mm.
we talked about earlier, you have to accept your flaws to love yourself. So in
Mm-hmm.
order to get to this state where you're in love with someone else, you're gonna have to accept some of their flaws. There, of course, can be non-negotiables, but learn how to accept their flaws. Don't rate. I know you feel once you get to a point, you start feeling good about yourself, like
Mm-hmm.
all the stuff, like you should be trying to get my attention. That's not a
Right.
bad place, but when you're too high up there, you're too haughty about it,
Right.
you're also blocking out certain energies from coming in.
Right. That's good. That's good. That's what. I'm going back and re-listening to this episode. I'm gonna go to sleep listening to this episode.
I have to say, like, I love my female friends. I love, but everybody says this. A lot of people say this. My girls and my gays, who I'm talking to right now, will be like, I don't need a man. But later on, you say you want one.
Right.
So,
Right.
so
Yeah.
okay. And they're nothing. Man ain't shit. They ain't nothing.
Man.
Okay.
Yes. Right.
Okay. Okay. It's valid.
Yeah.
Okay. But
mm-hmm.
hey, when you say that, you operating at that vibration, the universe is not gonna bring you no more men. And then you say men ain't shit. The universe is like, okay, I'm gonna bring them the worst men possible
Mm.
because that's what they believe is all out there. So the universe is gonna help you keep believing what you believe. That's the universe's
Mm.
job. God set it up where the universe is gonna respond to whatever you believe.
Mm-hmm.
So when God made the universe, whatever you believe, that's what it is. So if you
Mm-hmm.
believe men ain't shit, that's true.
Yeah.
So you're gonna keep attracting men that do you wrong. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
keep it's gonna keep happening because you're operating on that vibration.
Mm.
So if you get to that state where you do feel worthy and you build a relationship with self and you want a romantic relationship, you're gonna have to learn how to be compassionate. You're gonna have to learn how to speak what you want out into the universe.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to learn those things. Stop
Yeah.
saying that all men are bad. Stop
Mm-hmm.
saying you don't need one or you don't want one. You're
Mm.
blocking yourself from getting the one that you do want.
Mm. Y'all, y'all, y'all know I am no stranger to saying men suck sometimes on my podcast. It's vulnerable. You know, I've recently been feeling like I feel like God and the universe and just vibrations. Um anyways, just all just came together and it's been slowly showing me, you know, it's time to move on from that. Ugh, men, all men suck, all men this, all men that. It's been like a year now where I even got to a point where I said, okay, not all men suck, but there is a lot that do. Or not all men suck, but there are those that I've encountered that do suck. However, there are those that I encountered that don't suck. So being that honesty, and I feel like it's time. Holy Spirit's been telling me, you know, she's been telling me it's time to move on from that vocabulary. Once upon a time it served you, it's not serving you anymore. And every time she tells me something, it gets confirmed so quick. Like whether it's through a random post, whether it's through somebody, a dream, literally, like, y'all, my spiritual life trust me, like, there's a reason why I believe in things, okay? I'm a skeptic people. I don't just be believing stuff just because someone tells me, or
Right.
oh, just because it sounds good. Like, no, like, there's a reason why I believe in, certain things. Maybe because I've experienced them, physically, literally, physically. We'll get to that one day, folks. Because I tell y'all all the time I hate God, but like He's not giving up on me. Like there's a reason. Maybe there's a physical encounter reason, but we'll know that soon, won't we, folks? I will let y'all know about that. Yes. I forgot where I was going with it. Oh, but yeah. I think no, I know that you literally just confirmed so many things. You have no idea. You answered three of my answered prayers by your words. Literally. I'm not even joking. Like, literally. I can
Thank you.
show you in my journal. Where's my journal? I can't find it. It's somewhere. I'm too comfortable to move right now. I'm sitting on a good bed. We love a good Tempur-Pedic mattress.
Right.
All peaceful. But, you know, thank you. Thank
Of
you.
course. Of course. I just want I my biggest goal is for all of us to be in alignment with source and to feel good. That's my
Yes.
biggest goal.
Yes. You are doing a great fucking job at it. You know what I mean? And this not putting you on a pedestal like you have to be perfect or have to do it right all the time.
And I'm
Um,
certainly not. I'm not perfect.
yes, this with this podcast, we come in an environment where pedestals don't exist, and if they do, we're gonna just wait for them to break, but we're also gonna applaud when it breaks, and we're gonna because this is showing the individual. I there's a better way I could have said that, but I lost my train of thought with it. But pretty much, we're going to clap when someone falls down and when they get back up. And when they're up on the mountain, we're going to clap regardless. We're not going to just acknowledge their existence while they're standing on the mountain. I feel like a true leader, which Dr. Tabari is someone who acknowledges guess what? I fell down. I fuck up. You know what I mean? I'm experiencing this. I feel like that's what a true leader is. That's really someone to look up to, not someone who does it all right. Because let's be honest, folks, if we look in the mirror, have we done it all right? No. Are we going to do it all right? No. There are going to be some things that we do great at, and there are going to be some things that we don't do great at. Why not isn't a leader someone that you can truthfully look up to rather than someone who is just this image of I don't do anything wrong ever, you know?
That's not
Like
it's
like
not
all these great people like and that's the thing. Ooh, it's very basically like there's leadership should not be conditional necessarily. And I know people might debate with that, but it's like for example like um politicians. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that they do everything right or wrong. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like they do something that's let's say they have a devout follower, a devout follower, and then that politician does something that that person doesn't like. And so now that devout follower is like, "Oh, how about this? This is a better example. Cancel culture. The
mhm,
moment someone fucks up, you know what I mean? The moment that they're off that pedestal, you know, you see, okay, they start to get canceled,
mhm.
and I'm not saying that there aren't cancelable reasons. I'm not saying that. I don't even like that fucking word. I think the shit's stupid. Um, I think people deserve chances. You know what I mean? Are worth chances. You know what I mean? There's a difference between being holding yourself and being held accountable, and just not giving the person a second. I don't know. It's um stories are complex, but what I'm trying to get at is, folks, like that's what a true leader is. I feel like is someone who admits and acknowledges. Guess what? I don't get it right all the time,
Mhm.
but it's pedestals, y'all break them, break your own pedestal and see who really, is supporting you. If you want to really see who's supporting you, wait till your pedestal breaks. Um, you can definitely weed out those who are just there in your life conditionally, who just are just wanting to get something from you. Um, yeah, let the pedestal break. The pedestal needs to break, you know. That's where wisdom is built as well when that pedestal is broken. You know, I don't know. That made sense to me, folks. Y'all know sometimes my mind runs faster than my mouth and vice versa. So sometimes I sound confusing, but that makes sense to me, folks. You get the picture, you get the image. When you look up to someone, when you look up to yourself, or just it's like, look, we're human beings. Shit's not always gonna go right. Okay,
Right.
shit's not always gonna go right. A leader to me is someone who admits they fuck up. But the fact that they get back up, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that shows leadership. You know what I mean? That I fucked up and then I fuck up again and then I got back up. Or I'm fucking up now and then I got back up. Or maybe I just want to stay down right now. I just want to stay fucked up right now. Oh, but guess what? I got back up next week. Like
I think
Honesty.
a good practice I did to learn what leadership was I started looking at the leaders and kings of the Bible, and you start to look when you really look into their history,
Mm-hmm.
they were making so many mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize that they might have been good leaders, but they made mistakes. And you
Right.
realize that they made the most mistakes when they weren't in alignment with what God was telling them to do. So if you're a leader and you're looking up to a leader, notice who they answer to. Who do
Mm-hmm.
they answer to? Is it source? Is it God? Are they humbling themselves? Because I feel like the best way to humble yourself is before God. And
Mm-hmm.
in whichever way you choose to believe in God, humble yourself before them,
Mm-hmm.
and that can naturally just knock you off that pedestal. Like
Mm-hmm.
we could just look at Solomon did a lot of things. Like Solomon was a great person in the Bible, but he was one of the most knowledgeable men, most wise men, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he ended up getting out of God's favor because he ended up dealing with a lot of different women. A lot of different women would tell him things and give him information that God didn't tell him. And he started to operate outside of himself and started making even more mistakes. And for him to be the wisest man, he wasn't anymore. He needed to humble himself and realize that I need to just stay in alignment with God. With what is God telling me? What's the godly thing to do here? Instead of the good thing, what's the God thing here to do? What's the best thing to do in this situation?
Yeah.
So for the leaders that you look up to, realize that they're not perfect. They make
Yeah.
mistakes. If you go in the Bible, you'll look 90% of the people that are discussing the Bible did something wrong in their lives. They're not
Mm-hmm.
perfect. They have wisdom to offer, but they are not perfect.
Mm. That's beautiful. That just sums it up. I just feel like a leader is someone just that an image of honesty. And honesty. By that I mean being able to say, guess what? I lied about this. You know, rather than saying I'm right all the time. I'm right all the time. I'm only this and I'm only that. You know what I mean? It's just like I lied about this. I fucked up about this. I'm gonna be honest with you and tell you. I'm gonna tell you these things. I wonder how it would look if when politicians are on the debate stage and they're always denying, like when someone says, "Well, you did this," and they're like, "That's not true, Governor. You did this." Well, that's not true, Senator. And I'm just like, when is someone gonna say, "You know what? I fucked up. I made a mistake, and then I learned from it." And I'm not going to do that again. You know what I mean? I would love to see what that looks like, other than everyone just denying everything. And I'm just like, when you do research, you see that both sides were fucking lying. But the point is, I just choose to look up to someone, and his name is Kevin. He knows who he is. I hope he listens to this episode, the full episode. Um, I tell him all the time. I was like, he's my leader.
Mhm.
He's my leader. So only person that I am able to really look up to, and the first person I was able to look up to was just when I was like 19 or 18 years old, because my parents weren't the best. But with that being said, folks, this has been another episode of Vulnerability Time. We want to thank Dr. Tabari. Dr. Tabari will be back later on the season as a special guest host. So that episode won't be with whatever. I'll keep y'all updated. Um, but look forward to next episode with a fellow with a Phi Delt fraternity brother. Tommy will be talking about what does finding yourself look like and what helped you heal, but through the eyes and the experiences of Tommy.
Hmm.
Alrighty. Bye, folks. Dr.
All right.
Tabari, tell them bye.
All right, bye you all. Love yourself, trust yourself, respect yourself.
Don't hang up. Don't hang up. Hey there, if you liked this episode, go ahead and buy my book on Amazon. What the book is called, type it on Amazon. It is Spoken by Trenton Epizon. Epizon is spelled Epizon. I really would appreciate the support. Give it a review, give it a buy, give it a try. and I promise you, you will not be upset at it. It is a poetry book. It is a very easy, quick read, and it definitely will give you some healing and some insight and some wisdom on abuse, mental health, recovery, the tragedy to triumph. You will love it. Give it a buy, give it a try, and recommend the book and this episode with others. Go ahead and give this podcast a follow and share it with others. You could be the reason that someone is alive tomorrow because you decided to share this episode today. This podcast is about saving lives, healing ourselves and others, and encouraging others and ourselves as well. Thank y'all so much for the support. Love y'all. I life y'all. I will see y'all next episode. You are valuable. You are beautiful. You are still on this earth because you have the strength. Thank you. Bye, folks.